Welcome, beautiful souls, to this now.
Welcome, everybody.
Inviting you to Temple of Heart Masterclass. We are so happy to be here with you all. My name is Autumn Rose.
And I am Abushady.
Welcome. So just as we let everyone trickle in, it's inviting you to use this sound to bring yourself here. Before a class, there's always like the hustle bustle. So just inviting yourself to take a few deep, luscious breaths.
Deepening that presence with the breath. The breath is going to be such a vital tool for us today as we journey in. Just starting to tune in with it now. Your own being.
And just inviting the wisdom of your body, the wisdom of your heart to start to call you in deeper. Just allowing yourself to move to this rhythm, to breathe with this beautiful space we know as our hearts. And just allowing yourself these few moments to tap in. What's alive? How is my heart feeling today? And you can just tune into the energetic frequency of your heart space, this beautiful temple. And you can even bring a hand up to touch this space if that feels alive for you. Calling yourself home, calling yourself present for this next 2.5 hours of heart medicine. So beautiful to feel you all here in this frequency as we open these temple doors together. We had over 100 people sign up for this class. So this is alive in the field. This is big for all of us. So just breathing into that field now of the human heart. And feeling now our collective heart sitting around this fire together. And just playing with this rhythm, with your breath, with your presence, really allowing yourself to land into this field of heart space. Just allowing yourself to land here, home. This beautiful heart space. This is the center, el centro of our being, of our lives. This is the place that pumps our blood, our life force, our vitality, our aliveness into every moment. Just feel into this rhythm, your unique rhythm that keeps the pulse, the beat, the sacred cadence of your prophecy. Just allow yourself to sway in this rhythm, to be moved by the sacred ancientness of your own heart.
Feeling into the uniqueness of your heart. And seeing also that it's this heart that connects all of us. And that beyond this physical, we share the same heart. And this heart beats in a rhythm of oneness, a rhythm of love that is our true nature.
Allowing yourself to fully take up this moment exactly as you need. Let your heart guide you. Let's start tuning in to this subtle sound, the heart song. Because she is alive. He is alive, speaking to you in every moment. So just allowing our ears to start to tune to this frequency. And just allowing for a moment of stillness now to find you. And let's just take some deep, full breaths together into this silence. And then gently, sweetly, softly allowing the palms to come together to create some friction and some heat and some sacred fire. And on your next inhale, taking the palms to place them over the eyes, deep breath in. Just allowing this fire to transmute the lenses of love. With your next inhale, inviting the palms of the hands to the base of the skull and the neck. This is the place of the Atlas room we will be journeying into later today. Just saying hello and warming up the space with your breath and love. And with your next breath, bringing the palms of the hands to the heart space. Just allowing a moment of deep, deep presence here. Allowing this warmth and this fire and this sacred breath to start to melt any ice, to start to erode any sharp edges. To just say, hi, I'm here, I'm listening. And when you have truly tapped this space and the power that awaits you here, staying connected to it, really sweetly, really gently, allowing yourself to come back into this space, back into this circle, and gently opening your eyes, your ears, your senses, your being. And just taking a moment to notice what's shifted, how that energy has moved in just a few moments, just 11 minutes of space and rhythm and breath. This is all that's truly needed for us to connect in with our hearts. And so now that we are here, let's take a deep breath in together and arrive around this fire. This is the space that we journey into the heart. So with that, welcome, welcome, welcome to the temple of heart from this space, from the space of presence, from the space of connection, from the space of we're here together with our hearts. So we'd love to invite you to say hi in the chat, share what's alive for you. If there's a frequency, a tone, a word that wants to be shared in the chat, please feel free to let that come out, because this is a really important piece of when we come in to tap into these beautiful pieces of quantum technology known as our hearts. They need a chance to speak back. So even just taking that word or that resonant tone and sharing it with the group is already building this muscle of letting the voice of the heart come out, to be seen, to be heard, to be witnessed.
Yeah, the heart loves spaciousness. It loves stillness and silence, and that requires that we actually put our attention on it for some time. And the attention gets jumbled, especially in this day and age. There's so much that grabs at us. And truly the things that grab at us, they bring us out of our hearts and into our minds and into this whole mental dynamic that we have to figure out. But the heart is the guide. So this kind of work, like this, is tuning into your guidance system, really, and your source of peace, your source of stillness, your source of spaciousness and aliveness, right? It's the heartbeat, it's the rhythm of life, literally. So thank you for being here for this.
Yeah, thank you for listening to your hearts and hearing the call to come back to what holds everything, right? Our aliveness, our inner peace, the tender, the beautiful. So thank you for being here with us. Mackenzie says in the chat, hello, my ice is melting, gratitude. And Serena says, hi, my heart is feeling raw and tender devotion to what is. So beautiful. Yeah, and we want to welcome in this space that this is a really safe and sacred container for you to journey within and to give the time, attention, and presence necessary to tend our hearts in the way they truly needed to be tended. With that time, right? With that no pressure to like, oh, my heart's feeling something, but I have so many things to do, or like, it feels intense and I don't really have the capacity to go in that deep to that emotion right now. We created this space as a temple space to come in and be in the temple frequency with our hearts. And we're going to journey in a way that might be new to most of you today, which is inner body journeying and landscape work. And this is one of the most powerful tools that we have available to us to really get to know these parts of our bodies, right? Our hearts, our wombs, our groins, our minds, our fields. We can actually journey into them. And just like if you open your eyes and look outside of whatever space you're receiving this transmission in, there's a landscape. There's trees, there's sky, there's mountains. The land is carved a certain way. The water moves in a certain cadence and flow and direction. The wind and the storm all move through in a certain way, right? So just as we can start to pay deeper attention and presence ourselves in nature and start to notice, oh wow, there's all these beautiful wildflowers growing here, but I didn't know because I was not really present and embodied in my environment. So today is going to be really beautiful because we're going to have a few opportunities to go in to these different spaces in the body, the heart and the Atlas room, and to really get a chance to open our eyes inside and open our ears inside and start to receive wisdom in this way, because we know that the external world is filled with inversions and spells and timelines that we don't actually want to go down. And there's a lot coming in at us all the time, right? Like data, information, it's bombarding us all the time. And our hearts are truly this temple space where we can come in and curl up and be with self and be with truth. And all of that extra information, just kind of, we can sweep it out of us in this space. And then when we emerge back into our lives, we're so deeply connected internally because we've spent time there paying attention, listening to the bird call that's inside of our heart, right? Just picking up on every single thing. And then we can take these keys that we find inside of us, which are our true keys that nobody outside of us has access to. And we can move back into the external reality from this internal world and universe with key pieces that have been given to us from our soul, that have been spoken to us from the voice of our heart, right? Like this is the true wisdom. It lies within each and every one of us. And so this temple of heart journey is truly an opportunity to become skilled in a new way at connecting to heart space and moving through life in this way. Because once you plug in to connection and to seeking the wise counsel of heart, all the other voices really start to fade. It's almost like the heart, the volume gets turned up so much on the heart, and this inner guidance and this inner wisdom and this inner direction, that everything else gets turned down. And so moving ourselves through life, trusting ourselves to meet life, trusting what God has laid before us to experience in this now moment, becomes a lot more easeful and graceful, because we actually have a direct plug into this space. So yeah, it's a powerful time to remember our hearts. It's a powerful time to come home. They're calling. They've been calling us, and we're here. We're listening.
Yeah, I love that piece. And like you said, it's like everything else gets turned down, the heart gets turned up, and it becomes so steady that it's the only thing that you can really hear. And you realize that it's always been speaking, first of all. Like it's always, the silence has pervaded everything. The spaciousness has pervaded everything, always. You actually never left that space. It was always your true nature. But we don't realize this until we actually, consciously choose to be in it and be in that space. And we realize from the heart also that everything that's happening has layers to it. And there's like a lower reality or a lower consciousness that we are seeing. That's like the very obvious one. And then there's a higher consciousness that is pervading everything. And the heart is what is able to tune into that. And so with this heart technology, someone can say something that from the lower perspective, it might feel mean or wrong. But from the heart, you realize that the higher selves are communicating with each other, and that there's actually just pure love in all the interactions and everything that's happening. It's all based in the truth, in the true reality, which is the love. And the heart is our tool in this body to actually tune into that space and see things for what they actually are. So
Oof, that's a powerful piece.
you're a powerful piece.
You're a powerful piece. This is so special. This core piece of understanding that our hearts are so multidimensional, truly. And some of us, you know, we have trouble with owning our spiritual gifts, with owning our vision, with owning our ability to perceive and to sense and to feel, right? We do this thing where we'll have a powerful vision or we'll have a very powerful intuition, then we'll be like, I'm crazy, that's not real. Like, we do this thing to ourselves. And the heart, really, when we start to connect deeply with us, it wipes that out. It wipes that non-trust out. Like, I used to pull the cards, I used to do muscle testing, I used to do all of the things. And when I started seeking counsel with my heart and my womb and going into my Atlas room, it changed everything. Because really, this voice is all you need. It's all you need. So our hearts, this is a really important piece, this multidimensionality and being able to access these higher octaves of love and true frequency, and then these lower ones, right? Because we've all experienced them. We've experienced this deep, profound awe and bliss and wonder, and we've experienced heartbreak. You can't have gotten this far on the earth path without like taking a couple of hits in the heart, right? So honoring that on this spectrum, our heart remembers everything and our heart holds everything. And so when we go into the landscapes of our heart, you're going to notice if there's maybe an invasive species plant that's taking over the landscape. And you can start to ask yourself, is this supposed to be here? And just like our heart is this beautiful garden, truly. And just like you would tend a garden, we need to tend our hearts in the same way. And what this changes is it helps us start to tune in to the true function of the quantum technology of the heart, which is to alchemize and to guide. And so when we can tune into our heart space as being this mirror, right? This garden that's showing us what's growing, what's getting taken over by weeds, what bugs are attacking and eating your roses, right? Like, there's so many pieces that we can tune into. We then get to be these sovereign keepers of the sacred space and say, oh, actually, this isn't allowed in my space. And when we take something out, wherever that leak is, where we consciously or unconsciously let something hook in or attach to our heart space, we now can say, thank you for the lesson, and I am complete, and remove it. And what we can bring in, this is where we really get to tap into our hearts, right? What do I really need? What do I really desire? Like, outside of what my human mind thinks I need, outside of what society has taught me is beauty, success, love, relationship, fame, right? Like, just all of the things. What's alive? And it gets to be this simple. Getting to connect with your heart gets to be this simple. Taking the space, building trust. This is a relationship, right? Just like any other relationship, there's trust. You have to show up. You have to go knock on the temple door of the heart and be like, hi, do you want to hang out with me? I brought you some flowers. I brought you something for the altar. So it's an exciting time for humanity, because we are remembering this quantum piece of technology. We are starting to remember electricity and magnetism and the magic that is actually accessible and available to us when we start to understand the function of this space. So with this, let's start tuning into our heart space. And we're going to do a few different things here. We're going to tune into the voltage that we're running in our heart space. We're going to tune into just the frequency in the landscape. And we're going to tune into kind of the toroidal field that's happening here. So you can get a sense of how this energy is actually moving inside of you. So inviting you to just close your eyes if that feels alive, and you can also have your eyes just like softly closed. Some people like to journey with them open. That's fine for you, but just allowing yourself to let your body know that you're here and we're going to go inside. And just beginning by bringing the hands to the heart space, the fingertips to the heart space, and letting your breath really show you how it wants to breathe you right now. And as the breath starts to find its own natural rhythm and flow, allow your hands and your fingertips to also just start to gently massage this beautiful space. Just bringing this love, this compassion, this devotional touch, and just feeling the soft tissues of the heart space of the chest. And for women, just also acknowledging the breasts. These are the wings of the heart, so they're very sacred piece to this technology. And just allowing yourself to take a moment to drop all the way in through self-massage. Such a powerful way to connect to our hearts before we journey in. Just allowing the breath to be really full and luscious and deep as you journey, because it will carry you. And then when you're ready, allowing yourself to find stillness. And just opening up to the field through the heart space, just tuning into gratitude, tuning into love. Just turning our hearts in the direction of our hearts and saying thank you. Thank you for beating in my chest every moment. And from this space, just allowing body to start to guide you towards the heart. And we're going to land outside the temple doors to our heart spaces. So just using your breath, allowing you to trust whatever visions or symbols or sensations that are alive for you right now. And as you arrive to the temple doors of your heart, just beginning to drink in their majesty, their beauty. Maybe they're ornate and carved with beautiful gold and gems. Maybe it's a simple wooden door with an ancient symbol upon it. Just allowing whatever your heart is willing to show you right now to become vivid with your presence. And just allowing an offering here to appear in your hand. And with a deep breath in, kneeling down before the sacred temple of heart space and laying this offering at the foot of the temple doors. And asking the heart if we have permission to enter, opening fully to receive. And as these beautiful temple doors begin to open, just allowing yourself to enter with the deepest reverence you have ever held. And as you enter, just allowing yourself a few moments to track, to take in your surroundings, to look around at the landscape of your heart. Just tuning in here. You may, depending on how long it's been since you have been connected to this space, like what you see and feel, and you may not. Just allowing yourself to attune to this landscape without judgment or attachment to anything in particular. And then just beginning to ask the heart, I'm here. What is needed? What medicine do you need from me right now? Opening fully to receive. And once you've received this first tone from the heart, just allowing yourself a few moments to free flow through this landscape and clean up. What is here that doesn't need to be here? Maybe there's cobwebs, maybe the temple needs to be swept. Maybe there needs to be flowers and fresh water on the altar. Maybe there's fire and there needs to be some element of water brought in. Remembering our elements here to bring balance and harmony. So allowing a few more breaths here. Just taking care of anything left that needs to be cleaned up or cleaned out, knowing that this is your sovereign space, and anything that is not desired here can just be given to the hands of God. Now we're going to tune in to the heartstrings. And these are all the beautiful bundles of arteries and veins and capillaries that carry this life force, this frequency from our hearts throughout our entire beings. So just placing yourself in this landscape, maybe you want to sit down somewhere beautiful here. And just imagine now that you are combing your fingers through these heartstrings and just being gentle and sweet, like a grandmother brushing knots out of a child's hair. So allowing yourself to smooth through these heartstrings. You may notice they're knotted or attached or maybe wrapped around past lovers or future longings. Just allowing yourself to move through, combing everything out. And allowing the heart to breathe with you here. You may feel your nervous system relaxing. You may feel some programs and belief systems in the mind starting to unwind. Just letting this be a sacred ritual right now, fully present. Just taking one more breath here to comb this love, this care, this sweet devotion through your heartstrings. And then allowing in this vision, in this experience, just for a moment of stillness. To fully taste and sense and feel these energetic shifts that are already taking place in this beautiful heart space. And from here, just tuning in to the toroidal field. This is the electromagnetic force that is generated by the heart. So just allowing it to reveal itself to you, this beautiful spiral dance of frequency. And just tuning in, maybe your heart field is feeling just a few inches out from your heart. Maybe it's a few feet. Maybe it's a few meters. Just allowing you to sense into how much space your heart is taking up with this beautiful field. And from here, we're going to ask the wise wisdom of our heart to guide us to the place of voltage within our heart temple. So this might be a switch or a button that is somewhere within your heart space. Just allowing yourself to find this and be guided to arrive here. And once we've arrived here, we can ask our heart to guide us to choose the voltage that will support the highest frequency of this technology. And just allowing yourself to turn up or turn down the voltage in your heart space, however you're guided to do so. And just taking a deep breath in here and feeling this shift in how energy and frequency is now moving through your entire body. Voltage has a lot to do with anxiety, with that tight chest sensation, with panic, with non-trust. So feel now what this shift has brought. There's more spaciousness here. You can relax deeper here. And then from this space, just finding a beautiful spot to sit in this landscape, in this inner temple of the heart. Somewhere that feels peaceful and calm and alive for you. And once we've arrived here, taking a deep breath in, filling the whole heart with this breath, 360 degrees. And just repeating this a few times, breathing all the way around, whole heart. And from this space, we are going to open up, asking the highest frequency of Holy Mother and Holy Father God to bring their fingers, bring their hands into our heart spaces and to bestow upon us the highest upgrade technological heart that we have available to us in this now to be installed. So just allowing yourself to drop into sacred meditation here, to breathe, open to receive, and to allow the sensation of the holy hands of God and the holy hands of Christ to come in and start working, renovating, upgrading this beautiful piece of quantum technology. Taking a few minutes in silence here to receive. You're doing a beautiful job. Just keep breathing here. Just giving a few more moments for these sacred hands to do this work. Just paying attention to the subtle movements and energy and spaciousness and access to this beautiful heart. Just feeling our beautiful hearts being upgraded right now to hold the next level of our prayers, of our dreams, of our desires, all we are building. If you have a prayer for yourself that you would like to say right now, or to speak over these hands as they reweave you in the highest, please allow yourself to do so. And from this space, just offering an inner bow, some love to these hands of Holy Mother, Holy Father, God in Christ, for assisting, for always supporting, for always guiding, for always loving. And asking that this upgrade and temple build be repeated for 40 days, every hour of every day, so that our cells can start to really drink in this new frequency, and that the cells of our heart start to implement this new foundational building of self, and that this love is what's pumped out into every single cell of our being. So just allowing this upgrading to fade into the background, letting the hands of God do as they will, and just bringing your awareness into the stillness of the heart space now. And we're going to once again invite the presence of the electromagnetic field, the toroidal field of the heart, to now show itself to us from this upgraded frequency. There we go. So just feel this power now. This is your power. The power of our hearts. Quite possibly the greatest gift that we have here. So feeling this reverence now, this love, you have come in and tended your heart. Feel her smile, feel him smile at your presence, at your willingness to be here. The place that we're always trying to get to. Let us be fully here in this now. And from this space, we open to receive any wisdom or guidance that our hearts really, really want us to know right now. What do you wish to share with us? Beautiful heart, opening fully to receive. Just spending a few more moments enlivening this connection, this now, with your breath, with your love. And letting your hearts know that anytime they need to return, they need us, they call us, that we are listening now. That there is this open line of communication, and we promise our hearts, we make this promise in devotion, we make this vow to listen to the voice of our heart and to return when we are called, and to touch this space, to be with this space, to breathe with this space daily, for it is our home. And to offer your gratitude and to seal this sacred time spent here in this temple, to enliven it with your love and your frequency. Allow yourself to offer one tone from the center of your soul to the center of your heart, and to vibrate this realm, this landscape of the heart temple into its new frequency, to activate it fully with your sound. So taking a deep breath in and exhaling through silence. And then inhaling and allowing yourself to find one tone of love to share here. Just allowing this sound to echo through all the landscapes of your body, through every cell. And then from the space of gratitude and depth and connection, inviting yourself to keep one foot here, to really dig your toes in and feel the landscape of this space, and to carry with you now, using the breath, using the presence, using the momentum of this frequency, to come back into this circle, into this unified heart field. And allow yourself really gently, really softly to come back here, bringing this upgraded technology with you into the external. And just allowing yourself a few moments to acclimate the inner world with the outer, and to find your sacred center here in this body between both. And this would be a beautiful time, if you have a journal and pen nearby, to catch anything that feels important. I'm just going to play a song here to just give the space to really come back and attune to this new frequency and to let it crystallize here with us. So if you need to lay down and stretch and just move a little bit or shake or catch anything in your journal, just taking this few moments to do that. Mm. Mm. That was so yummy. Mm. So just giving yourself a moment to finish up. And if anyone feels called to share what that journey and experience was like for you in the chat, or either you can raise your hand or unmute yourself. We'd love to hear some shares of, yeah, just what was alive in that experience. Also, no pressure to share.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be a lot. It can be a lot in that space. And I think it's so beautiful to have this guidance to bring us in there. But I do find for myself personally, and I know everyone, we all move at our own pace. So not to feel like pressured, because it's possible you went in there and maybe, you know, some of the questions you didn't get clear answers on, and some of the visions seemed distorted, or you didn't get to finish like working through something. So just know, you know, just be patient with yourself and patient with your heart, and, you know that in going in now, we've opened up a certain level of perception, and we've opened ourselves up to speaking and interacting with our heart in new ways now. And now you have this map of how to enter this space and how to enter it with reverence and respect. And it's available to you always to go in. And so, yeah, just to give yourself time and trust your unique process and timing, tuning in to your space.
Yeah, and knowing that we can always return. There's always more tending to do. If you've ever had a garden, right? There's always watering, there's always sun needed, there's always weeding to do. So
yeah. And also that as we're, this is something that's new to us, or even if we've been doing this type of work for years, there's still a level of discernment in distinguishing the things that we hear and see. And it's like, what is truly coming from my heart and what is my mind? What is like programs that I'm running still? And so, yeah, just to also keep that in mind, that you might hear something and it's important to ask and tune in. If you're unsure about what you heard or saw, is this from my heart? Is this from God? And usually that can help bring some more clarity, because if you get a no, then maybe you can, go in and ask again and find the actual truth. So sometimes it takes multiple times to go in to ask the questions, to look.
yeah, another really key piece too I want to share about inner journey is if something comes through, sometimes it can be jarbled or it can sound like there's two or more voices speaking at once. And just asking to repeat, say, hey, heart, can you actually repeat that and say it more clearly and more loud so that I can really, really hear you? Then sometimes that's all that's needed to go right into what is being shared with us. So how's everyone feeling on shares or questions? Does anyone have any questions at this point on anything that came up for them? This is why, oh bless you, we do the longer master classes, so it's like slow and we get to really be here. Really get to be here. There's no rush out of the heart space right now. Everyone's vibing out. So, yeah, just to share about some of the practices that my heart has guided me to, I really started connecting deeply with a heart practice when I entered celibacy. And of course, when I entered into the womb space, I entered into heart space because my elder has told me that every heart comes from the womb. And so they're deeply connected, the way they speak to each other and the way that men's hearts speak to women's wombs, right? Like there's always this beautiful conversation going on. And the practice that really changed everything for me with the heart was massage. Because when we think of the heart, right, like there's so many heart coherence meditations and heart breathing and like blah, 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 blah. There's a million things to do with our hearts. But how many of us walk every day on this earth and don't actually go and touch our hearts, right? Like it's mind blowing. I did it for so long. And when I changed that, this one simple act of touching my heart every day, and it can just be like a few minutes of like massage or just like, oh, I love you. And all of a sudden, these energetic pains that were in my heart, or this constriction or this anxiety that I would sometimes feel, really started to dissipate, because it's not necessarily about the trauma. It's not necessarily about the pain. It's not necessarily about the physical condition of the heart and how fast or how slow the blood is pumping and like all of it. It's about how connected we are here. And a lot of the time, that pain that we feel in our heart isn't because of them or him or her, blah, blah, blah. It's because it's our heart calling to us and we are ignoring it, right? It's like a baby crying out for attention. It has a need, it has a desire, it wants to be heard, it has something to say. And that ignoring, right? And this is where like the core wound of humanity, of self-abandonment, comes in, because our heart is our home. And so anytime we abandon our home, that's when the other things come into that space, right? I'm not worthy of love. My heart can't do this again. And I've been hurt so many times. I need to protect myself. And this is where that cry, that little pain, starts to quiet, right? It's like, oh, no one's actually hearing me, so why am I crying anymore? And instead of that cry, instead of that voice, the heart knows it's not being heard. And so it has to speak in ice and in rocky edges, right? And it starts to build up. Every time we ignore our hearts, it puts a brick on this wall that it starts to build up. And it does this to protect itself. And it doesn't want this. It doesn't want to build a wall between us and it. It doesn't want that. It wants to build a bridge. But sometimes we have to build these walls to learn. And so many of us are living from this space of trying to connect to our hearts, but we've actually built up an ice shield around it so nothing can penetrate it. Our hearts are untouchable. We're so strong, right? Nobody can get in. Nobody can hurt me. Who's done this? Like, I've done this. Where I've built up a wall where I'm like, no, ice queen, you're not getting it, right? Like we do this. And this is not the place our hearts want to be. They can't beat, they can't sing, they can't move, they can't be touched, they can't dance when they're. And so this practice of starting to touch our hearts every day and make this connection, what that does is it melts the ice. And what it does is every time we bring our breath and we move it around our hearts, it's like a river, and it starts to erode all those sharp edges. And as we melt our ice around our hearts, as we start to erode these stone walls that we've built up to protect ourselves, our hearts start to soften and they start to expand. And they start to swirl the blood in beautiful ways. And all of a sudden, people are close. People are moving closer to us, because the electromagnetic field of our heart can actually pulsate out into the field now, and people can feel our hearts. And this is a beautiful thing, because so many of us feel like we don't have our soul family, right? Like we want those sisters and brothers who really get who we are. Well, guess what? This is how we find each other. This is how we find each other, by turning on our hearts, by lighting us up, by beaming who we are out into the world. This is how we find each other.
Yeah, it's that heart field is what you feel when you meet somebody who's like beaming, right? Someone who's just like beaming love. We all know somebody like that, who when they enter the room, they just enliven everything. And this is, like the great sages had this characteristic, and the Buddha and Christ, like this is the ultimate spiritual energy as well. It's It's going into the heart and, like you said, like taking down all these walls that we've built around it that allows it to expand. It allows the field to expand. And yeah, truly it requires a certain level of trust because we're afraid of getting hurt and being damaged. But I think it's really closing the heart off is like the most damaging thing we can do to it, because all it wants to do is connect. And it's like screaming to connect. It's like I've felt that before where I'm just not like tuning into it, and it's like almost like screaming at you. And if you don't listen to that, it starts to express physically as well. And I've felt this recently of just like needing to get something off my heart and like being afraid to do so because of some mental program, and starting to feel like my heart hurt and starting to feel pain in other areas of my body, and just knowing like this is connected to what I'm holding right now. Like it's so obvious at that point. And people have all these crazy symptoms and things in their bodies all the time and don't make the connection. Like there's something emotional and energetic that you're not letting move. Really, emotion is energy in motion. So it's like you're stagnating your emotions when you close your heart. Don't allow yourself to feel. So, and I love this whole, just the simplicity of touching the heart too, because I remember the first time I had a cranial sacral therapy session, and I just went into it, just, try this out. Never done anything like it. And the guy who did it, he just knew intuitively to touch my heart, and he just kept like rubbing it for like a few minutes. And I was having so much, like he was like, focus on your heart. And every time my attention went somewhere else, he was like, focus on your heart. Like he felt it. It was crazy. And eventually I started to have a whole lot of emotion and things that were below the surface bubbling up just from him touching my heart and making me focus on it. Like I said, anytime my attention shifted in the slightest, I thought about something else, he like caught it and brought me back in. And after a few minutes of this, finally it came up and he was like, speak your heart. Like, just tell me what's on your heart. And it was the first time meeting this guy too. I was just like, all right. And I just let out this whole thing about like some family things that were going on and some relationship things and confidence things. All just came out of me and I didn't even know it was there. And it was just this simple touching on the heart and the attentiveness that allowed it to speak. So it's very simple, right? We do all this, like you said, all these different things to open up the heart and tune into it. And it can be as simple as just like touching it physically and touching it mentally. Just put your focus into it. And it's beautiful to have someone who can, hold space for you, but also know that you're held by Holy Mother, Holy Father always. And you're held by your heart, actually.
Yeah, and there's really not a better time than right now, if we look around us, to start to create this safe space for us to retreat to in this life. Like it's so important. It's so important. It's changed my life as a mother to have this space to retreat to when like the needs of the babies are so big, and it's been such a place of salvation in our union when there's love going on or really intense things going on, to return here and be like, oh, okay, like this is home. It begins to hold you and to move you through life in this new way, when you start to really tap into this frequency and to anchor into this voice of the heart and to the wisdom that resides here. You want to read this comment?
Yeah. First, Haley Shakti said, I appreciate all these reminders of slowing down and asking confirmation questions, really taking the time. So I appreciate that reflection, sister. And right, we're on our own time. And I think we do get to decide like how we navigate. And yeah, like when we do things, like, and how we do them. So it's our own unique journey. I think you should read that one.
And Serena says, at the end of the journey, I saw the man I'm dancing with in potential union approach my temple gates and come to a waterfall that would allow him to pass or not. I seen a waterfall as someone's temple gate, so I love that. The message was that the final piece was him feeling worthy to enter. Or sorry, I missed this piece. He came through all the way to his heel and then got sucked back out. The message was that the final piece was him feeling worthy to enter his Achilles heel of unworthiness, and that there is nothing more I can do other than be here whole and content in my beautiful temple. I did send down a beautiful tent, snacks, big feather fans, and warm hospitality down to the camp he is at, and he chooses whether to climb up the steps and try again. Woo!
Sheesh.
Like, I love that. I love that, sister. And thank you for sharing this. This is so beautiful when we share our inner journeys, because we all have such a powerful piece of wisdom to share with each other. And that, right? You just received such a deep piece of wisdom that you are needing guidance on in this place of where you're at in this dance of relationship and union. So like, this is the juice. Like, this is why we're doing this masterclass, is because it's all here. It's all here, babes. Like, truly, we are at a level now collectively where we are remembering that we do not need to outsource our power anymore. And this has been hugely shown to us with our launch of Anointed, just like the maps that people are really running, the lenses that we're really running. And it's like, holy shit, are we here? We're here. And this flip of us being able to remember that we are so powerful in our internal landscapes, that there's so much wisdom, that it's actually not this special gift that's only bestowed upon like oracles and seers and devoted healers, right? Like, we all have access to this. And this is truly the Christ consciousness of the heart. It's through entering through these gates into this temple frequency and understanding that this is holy space that changes everything. Truly. We don't need to get our palms read anymore. We don't need to look at astrology charts anymore. Like, there's so many maps here, and yes, they're fun to like dabble in and play in, but we've passed the tipping point kind of giving our power away to these maps. And now it's time to find our way home to the true maps that live within us. And the heart and the Atlas room, which we're going to start to journey into, is really this place where this happens. So yeah, is there anything else you want to share on that before we move into the Atlas room?
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's so many powerful ancient teachings, esoteric knowledge that we have available to us. But we live in a world that has like distorted everything on some level, inverted everything on some level. And so in order to even read those maps requires a certain level of spiritual discernment, which is only found in the trust of the heart. This is what it's all about. So it's like, even if you like, you know, learned everything there is to learn about astrology and you're a master astrologer, you learned everything about tarot, or you learned everything about channeling or yoga or whatever it is, you still need to have this tool of the heart to be able to discern what is real and what is inverted, right? So yeah, learn from these other maps, but you are the ultimate technology. You are the ultimate source to tune into. So yeah, just it's like so much respect and reverence to those maps, but also realize they have been distorted and altered in many ways. So you need to be able to tune in and find what is true for you.
Yeah, we will always be the keepers of our truest maps. So, my loves, I would like to invite us to have a 5-minute break so we can refresh, so we can use the bathroom, so we can have a little stretchy stretch or a little shaky dance, whatever you need. And we'll return here in about 5 minutes and dive into the next piece of this journey, which is going to be moving into the Atlas room, our inner map room and our inner library, to start to play with some removing of distorted maps and some uncovering of true ones, which is going to be deep. So also, if you don't have a journal and pen, I highly recommend grabbing one so that you can catch what comes through at the end of this journey. So I'm going to play a little songy song for us.
What? Everything's a songy song and a dancey dance?
Yeah. All of it. All of it.
Hearty heart.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, beauties.
Bliss up.
Canto un canto redondo de la memoria del río y del pozo subterráneo donde vive el vacío. Es la noche que gesta y es la hoguera en su fiesta. Canto un canto redondo de la memoria del río y del pozo subterráneo donde vive pozo subterráneo donde vive el vacío.
Hi, loves. Just giving yourself a moment to arrive back here with us. Mm. Let's give another minute here for everyone to join us. Hi, Beauty. Yay. So glad you're joining in. So, Yum, that was a really beautiful first piece to this journey. And if you are tuning in to our field, you may have noticed that there's been a really big energetic shift for all of us here since doing that. When we first entered in, the collective field was the hearts were feeling really kind of hidden and like tucked away. And through that architectural upgrading and rebuilding, it now feels like there's this interdimensional temple space that's like over us, like this greater heart. And it feels really like pristine and like a royal palace vibe. So just even this work is so profound for each one of us, but also like for me facilitating this space, it's so profound to tune in and to see the shift that's actually happening in our collective heart field as well. So this is powerful. This is why it's powerful to bring our hearts together in this way and to do this work, is because we have massive shifts on the collective. And I guarantee us coming together and doing this, and then all the people tuning into the replay, is going to have an effect on the collective heart field. Because this is what happens when we come home, is that frequency, that pulse gets shared with all of us, because we do share all one heart. And interesting to note too, just to pay attention as we move out of this class and into the next hours, days, and weeks, shifts happen in the external when we make internal shifts. And we've all heard this, right? But when you lay the lens of what is capable, or what we are capable of doing when we go into these internal landscapes, we really understand this on a new level, right? That when we go in and tend the sacred garden of our hearts, or whatever organ is needing attention, there will be external shifts. And one of the big pieces for me is when I started doing this daily practice of massaging, and then I would do a really deep breast and heart massage once a week, is people started to trust me on this level that like blew my mind. Because I feel like I've always been someone who people kind of come to when they're having something that they need. But once I started touching my heart, it was actually mind-blowing. Like just people in the valley, people in the grid would be like, blah, 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 and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I literally know everything that's happening in this valley right now, because all of a sudden everyone was just like, I trust you with this information. And a lot of it was stuff that like you wouldn't tell just anyone. So this is a testament to the power of our hearts. When we're tuned into this field, we become trustworthy. We become people that are trustworthy. And that's a gift on this earth, truly, to offer a field of peace and of connection and of radiance in a world where people are so far away from that. So that's why we do this sacred work with our hearts, because they are a gift. We are a gift when we're in them, walking around. You know it, right? You feel it. You can have those days where you're like turned up in your heart space and you walk down the street and everybody feels you, right? And then you have those days where you want to be seen so bad and it's so sad and you can be all the things and nobody sees you. This is the field of the heart. This is how powerful it is. So from this space, we've really tuned into the heart. We're here. The center of our being is lit up. We are in the field. Temple doors are open. There is a fresh breeze flowing through. The next piece that we are going to move into is a journey into the Atlas room. And the Atlas room is located, the Atlas is the top bone of your spine. And it sits like this on a bone called the axis. And it turns us in the direction we need to go. So this is a huge piece of our internal navigational system. So when we think to lineage and we stretch our awareness back a few hundred years, if that, we get to a place where maps and books became kind of the most important thing, right? And if we stretch back into this space, not that long ago, every single home, every single family had a room in their house called the Atlas room. And the Atlas, if you know what that is a book of maps. And so the Atlas room is your map room. And this can be seen as the space where all of the lineage scrolls, all of the wisdom of every lifetime you have or will ever or are walking is accessible to you right here. All the scrolls, all the wisdom you could ever need to tune into is in your Atlas room. And so this remembrance of picking up the maps that have been passed down to us through our lineage line, which is royal, is arising. Like truly, we are remembering that we have access to this inner library. And a lot of people try to access the Akash or the Akashic records or the library of humanity through astral projecting ourselves into another dimension. And I don't recommend that because it's not a clean way to get there. Truly, the cleanest way to get there is to go through the body, because we have full sovereignty in the space of our body and in our internal landscapes. And we don't when we take ourselves out of our body and try to project ourselves into another reality. So this is a really beautiful way to move through the multidimensionality of this experience in a way that's really clean, that's really safe, that's really grounded, and that's really supportive for where you are at your skill level of internal journey, right? You can be a beginner, you can be an expert, you can be anywhere in between. And this is just such a solid way to get to where you're going and to receive truly. So know that in order to go into our Atlas rooms, you will have to activate our sacred curiosity, right? This is an exploration. So there can be this piece where our adult mind can be like, right? And like, I must find the scrolls, I must find the secret tablets. And it doesn't need to be like that. We can like turn down the like Indiana Jones chaos a little bit, and we can turn up that like sacred explorer that our inner child is so amazing at, right? Where you go into nature and you see everything. You're like, this is where the fork goes, and this is where the fire goes, and this is blah, 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 right? Like you see it all because you are interdimensionally tapped in. So if you can kind of pick up those explorer glasses and put them on and initiate that innocent explorer within you, it's really going to help you rather than trying to go through it from like an archaeologist mind and just needing to like dig into everything. Allow the magic to be present. And the Atlas room is really beautiful because it goes beyond this dimension and this realm. And so when you allow yourself to enter into this space, maybe it's underwater, right? Maybe it's in a different slice of reality. Maybe there's core elements of a past life or a future life or a parallel life that's really coming through strong in this journey to your Atlas room. We pick up on this, we pay attention to this because we know that once we enter into this space, it's on because all the wisdom is here. And so open up this space within you to just know that, like, we're about to journey into a place that holds all we could ever want to know. And how profound that is. And I want to share kind of a little piece of why we're bringing this through. We start our 7-week offering anointed in 2 days. And this concept of going into the heart and the Atlas room kind of is like the basis for it. And we were going to offer it as the first piece in that course. And then God was like, this actually needs to be in everyone's hands right now. And so it became a free masterclass because this is how important this is, that we have access to this maps. It's just what needs to be done right now. Like it's just what needs to be done for all of us. And the reason this is so powerful to share this piece is this is how I unlocked my union in the external. Like this is how I found Abu. And to share kind of it's a big story, so I'm going to condense it down and just to a little medicine drip. But in a container that I was previously facilitating with my sister Alexandra, we did an inner guided journey to the Atlas room, and she was facilitating it. And so I journeyed in, and she invited us to find our highest map of prophecy. And when I went in to find it, I knew it was in this big room that was locked, like a safe. And I looked into my hand and I had this huge ornate golden key with a giant ruby in the center. And as soon as I seen that, there was this voice that was like, follow the ruby. And I heard it so clear. And I was like, oh, I'm going on like a finding a ruby mission now. And we did the work in that journey and unlocked this map of prophecy. And then as I left that journey, it was the ruby that really stuck out to me. So we go in, right? I went in to look at this map, but I found this ruby key. So we have to pay attention when we're inside to what is really calling us. And I heard this voice again, follow the ruby, follow the ruby. And so I was on this hunt in the external to like follow the ruby. It was literally like a scavenger hunt. And all of a sudden, like a week later, there was this notification on my phone that this woman, Ruby Chase, whose music I love, was playing at this retreat center like 10 minutes away. So I'm like, yo, I'm buying a ticket. I buy a ticket, I go to the show. She ends up not being able to come because of a double booking. So her partner comes and plays. And then I see the next day, I'm like, well, I didn't find the ruby. I see the next day that she's actually going to come to the same place and play 2 days later. So I buy a ticket, follow the ruby. At the end of her set, I was speaking with her and like sharing the story of how I was on this journey to find the ruby. And she tells me to hold out my hand. And I hold out my hand and she places a ruby in the center of my palm. And I was like, what? Did that just actually happen? And it blew my mind because I knew it happened. I watched it happen. I walked into it. And so I brought that ruby home, tripped out about it for like a few days. And then one day I came back from being at the beach and there was such a strong call to do a microdose of psilocybin. And it's something that I had been doing every so often. And so I knew what a small dose was. And I took that small dose and I'm like, I'm just going to take a tiny dose and I'm going to go into prayer and I'm just going to tune into this ruby. And it was like an ayahuasca ceremony. It was like an ayahuasca ceremony. I didn't know I was drinking ayahuasca. And I went into this wild state of prayer and rapture and awe and wonder for hours, like standing outside in the jungle in the dark, it's pouring. I'm like praying over my prophecy, praying over my life. And then all of a sudden there's like this stillness. And I ask, what should I do with the ruby? And I think in my mind that like God's gonna be like, oh, let's make a cute necklace out of it, or like a little ring, or like something for the altar. And this is what I hear. You are a jaguar. You have to devour it. And I'm like, you want me to eat the ruby? And so I put this ruby under my tongue and I pray for another 2 hours. And there's like wild lights happening in the sky. Like it was actually one of the wildest moments of my life. And I swallow it. And as I swallow this ruby, it's like little, guys, don't worry. I'm not like swallowing any big crystals or anything. Something bites my leg. And by the time the swallowed ruby moves from here to here, there's poison throbbing up to my hip and my leg. I didn't see what bit me in the dark. And now I'm like, I'm way out in the jungle by myself, a little bit high on mushrooms. And now there's like all this poison moving through me. So I like did a phone call with Alexandra. We prayed, did some energy work. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna die. So I like went up the hill to a drum circle and like ended my evening around the fire, like with community as really this like landing of this prophecy prayer. And so I'd gone on this journey from the internal realm to find this ruby and return it back inside. And I knew that by doing this loop, I had just unlocked something and I didn't know what it was yet. And this guy who we've been hanging out as sisters and brothers for like a few months shows up to hang out for the first time and
To make music
for Envision. And it became really clear really fast that we were coming together to make more than just music. And to fast forward it, like I think like a few weeks or a month, we were at Envision before we were going to perform and Ruby Chase was playing. And we're like, oh, obviously we have to go check out Ruby Chase because he knows the story of Ruby. And we're at the front stage and we're there with my sister and this woman comes out with a UV light and this bag and she's handing out rubies to everyone. And she hands out one to my sister and she hands out one to Abu and she doesn't hand out one to me. And he's like, oh, you already got a ruby. You don't need one. And bro eats the ruby. He looks at me and he's like, I swallowed the ruby. And that's when I knew. I was like, holy shit. We just unlocked this union. Like truly. And it's so wild. And yet it's not. It's not so wild because that guidance came so strong from my Atlas room, from my maps. And so I share this story to really like show you the power of what this journey can bring you. So yeah, with that, let's get into it. Let's get into this journey into the Atlas room. Do you want to do a little bit of guided breath?
Yeah, there's so many more layers to that story, but it's just
a little drip for now.
A drip. Yeah, so
that was a fly. Jungle coffee. You get bugs in your drinks all the time.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna do this next level of inner journey. And as I said in the beginning of this masterclass, the breath is such an integral piece of everything we're doing here. And it's an integral piece of everything we do, right? Like the breath is connected to everything. So it's kind of unavoidable that it makes sense that we should be able to tune in with it. And yesterday I was teaching a class in my membership and just kind of got a new understanding of how to use the breath for inner journeying. And it was just something that happened intuitively, where I was guiding us in the class and we were doing this very slow, silent breathing. And then I asked us to kind of tune into things that we needed to be revealed and released. And I noticed that in doing that, my breath pattern changed drastically, and it became a lot more forceful and strong. And I realized that my body was naturally breathing in this way to help bring me deeper into the journey and bring up what I was trying to feel and release. And so we already intuitively know how to do it. But I find it as such a powerful tool that if we can just first tune into our breaths and bring awareness to that, it kind of like opens up the door a little wider to be able to go into that inner landscape. So with that being said, just a few minutes here. I invite you to close your eyes and just begin to observe the breath as it is now, without trying to affect it. I invite you to lengthen up through your spine, to relax your jaw, relax your eyes, relax the face muscles. Maybe just hold like a very gentle smile. Peace. And the breathing pattern that we're going to tune into to deepen our presence and awareness is to just breathe normally on your inhale and feel the air filling up from the root all the way up to the top of the head. Feel the belly fill up to the chest, to the clavicle, upper lungs. And as you exhale, extend the exhale out, lengthen the exhale, and let the exhale fall as if you just shook an hourglass and the sand is dropping down slowly. Or you shook a snow globe and now every little particle is gently dropping. So let that inhale come up like the shake. Let that exhale just drop slowly with gravity all the way out to the bottom. And when we breathe in this way, when we extend these exhales, we bring ourselves into a parasympathetic state, which is our nervous system's relaxation and regeneration and sleep state. So if we can do this consciously, we're going to consciously bring ourselves into a place of relaxation and openness to receive. So just continuing to breathe in this way for just a couple more minutes. Nice, deep, normal inhales filling up all the way to the top. And just exhaling, releasing, slowly, steadily, letting each particle of air make its way out before letting that inhale naturally come in again. Not trying to think about anything, feel anything in particular. Just allowing ourselves to slow down and completely relax and surrender to the steadiness of our breath. Just being here in this silence and stillness. And as we move into this inner journey of the Atlas room, just remembering your breath and allowing it to guide you, allowing it to be a tool that can propel you deeper into presence and awareness and vision. And we use this breath pattern as a doorway, as a portal to enter. But from here on, allow yourself to breathe in any way that your body naturally wants to for this journey.
So keeping with this really beautiful sensation of breath, turning our hearts towards the Atlas room, our map room, our internal library, and asking our body to guide us to its doors. Just allowing yourself to arrive here and beginning to see this space, this landscape crystallizing around you. And you can ask to enter into your Atlas room from a place of devotion and reverence. And as these beautiful doors swing open and invite you in, taking in the landscape 360 degrees, what does this beautiful space look and feel like to you? Opening fully to receive. Maybe it feels like a library here. Or maybe it feels like a sacred temple tucked away in the forest. Just allowing this beautiful, unique space to reveal itself to you. And we're going to ask our bodies to guide us towards the highest map of false love that lives in our Atlas room. So this map is going to be the map that is clouding your vision of love the most, that is keeping you from feeling your own love, others' love, God's love, life's love. So allow yourself to be guided now to grab it from wherever it sits in this Atlas room. And you can allow it to come with you. Maybe you have a map table or somewhere beautiful to open this map and spread it out and look at it. So just allowing yourself to open this map up and just noticing maybe the edges are tattered, maybe it's made of paper or hide, or it lies within an old book, letting itself reveal its truth to you. Now you can place your hands on this map and ask this map its name. What is this false map of love called? Now that you know this map's name, allow your eyes to pore over it and see maybe where you are on this false map, what you've walked to get here, and where it's leading you. Letting the breath hold you here as you explore. So now that we're tuning in to this false map, beginning to track how this sensation is showing up in your body. Maybe it feels like unworthiness or constriction in the belly or the heart. Or maybe it's a pain in the back. And then once you make this connection to how this false map is tuning in with your body field, inviting yourself to declare this map complete. And you can take this map and alchemize it in any way that you are guided. Maybe you light it on fire, or you give it to God, or you dissolve it into vapor. Just allowing this experience of removing this false map of love completely from your Atlas room. And you can speak, I declare all false maps of love removed from my Atlas room. Just giving a few moments of presence, of breath to fully see, feel, and experience the completion of this removal. And just allowing yourself to feel the peace, the spaciousness, the shift in frequency from removing this one map. And now we're going to ask body to guide us to our highest map of divine love and union. The highest, most powerful, most radiant map of divine love and union is calling you towards it, opening fully to receive. And once you have located this map in the Atlas room, just allowing yourself to place your hands on it and to just feel this first impression, this first frequency. And allowing yourself to bring it somewhere where you can open it up. So opening up this beautiful map, you can find some weights or asking an ally to hold it open for you at the edges so that you can fully pour yourself into this map. First, asking this map, what is the name of my highest map of divine love and union? And then allowing yourself to really tune into this map, seeing all that has been walked, locating yourself on this map. Where are you? And now you can look ahead on this map and see where you are being guided. This is the map of your heart. Just allowing yourself a few moments here of silence and breath to study this map, to drink in its legend, its colors, all the pieces, opening fully to receive here. Just noticing as well if there are any hands on this map, and allowing all hands to be taken off of this map but yours and God's. And then asking this map of your highest divine love and union, if where you are standing on this map right now was a chapter, what would that chapter be called? Opening fully to receive. What chapter of this map are you walking right now? And then you can ask, what is the next chapter of this map called? And from this space, asking your map to reveal any important pieces or landmarks, signs or symbols or choice points that are either here or coming up for you, to share these with you, opening fully to receive. Now, in the heart of this map, there is a lock that desires to be turned to fully unlock the potential of this map and let its magic flow all through the Atlas room, all through the entire universe of the body, and to flow out into the external reality. Reach inside your pocket and find the key to unlock this highest map of divine love and union. Taking a deep breath in and allowing yourself to move through this with full presence. And as you unlock this map, feel yourself unlocking new levels of love, new levels of access to heart space, new levels of compassion, of connection, new levels of deep listening, of tracking, of paying attention and presencing self in body. And finally, feel it unlocking an entirely new level of giving and receiving love. Really allowing yourself to see, feel, and experience fully the unlocking of this power and potential. From this space, asking this map if there is anything that it wishes to share with you or to guide you in the direction of, opening fully to receive. Giving thanks for this moment, to be so connected to this inner wisdom, to be receiving, to be listening, to be here. Taking a final breath here with this beautiful map, and then allowing it to be rolled back up and to be placed back where it belongs in this Atlas room. And just feel how vital and alive this map is from your presence, from your touch, and how it glows now in this Atlas room. And just allowing yourself to offer a deep bow of reverence to this space, for all the ancestors and descendants who keep this space and tend this space for you. Thank you. And then over the next few breaths, allowing yourself to move from the internal world back through this bridge into the external world. It's moving softly, moving slowly, moving in power. Just taking a moment to land before you open your eyes. And to return here. And just appreciating this depth that we have just journeyed into. No need to abandon it. We can keep it here with us. And as we arrive back here, just allowing a hand to come to your heart. And just offering a breath of gratitude for this body, for this heart space, for this temple, for these sacred maps, for all this wisdom that resides here. And just feel into what is flowing now compared to when we first arrived here together. And just feeling this beautiful collective field of remembrance, of sovereignty, of return, and how precious this all is. So with that, loves, thank you for your willingness and your trust to journey so deeply in and to receive the wisdom of this beautiful body and vessel that holds everything. And it holds it all out of love for you, so that you can return and see and remember truth whenever you need to, truly. So this is a powerful practice that we've brought today, this dipping into the inner worlds and receiving the wisdom that resides there and starting to move it out, right? Because this is how we track prophecy. This is how we track our true maps, is we go into these spaces and we clear out what's not true for us anymore. And our landscapes are always changing. What could be true for you one day, a week later might not be the same truth. And to just recognize that we are always in this sacred dance of balance and harmony, and really reflecting between the internal world and the external world. With really listening to what our hearts are saying, what maybe isn't being said, right? How we're translating that heart song from the internal world to the external. And this is a really powerful dance to start to be in, this dance of inner and outer universe dancing, because it teaches us to track truth and to track aliveness and to track presence. So let's see what will come in the coming days, the coming weeks, the coming months, that is directly connected to the work that we just did today in our hearts and in our Atlas rooms. So thank you for trusting yourself, for trusting your body, and for strengthening the muscle of remembering how powerful we are and what we truly hold inside, and that there is no need every time there's a choice or a challenge presented to run to whoever we run to, right? Whether it's the gurus or the advice or mom or dad or the best friend or whatever. May we turn our hearts in the direction of our internal landscapes first and start to acclimate ourselves to this being our norm and to us walking in life this deeply connected to our inner power and what that changes as we walk on the outside.
Yeah, it was deep. It's such a sense and feeling now of anointedness, of just like fuller embodiment in self. And everybody here, like I feel that in everybody here, like we just all remembered a little bit more who we are. Yeah, it's the inner journeys in this manner are still fairly new to me, and I've always gone and explored my space in my own way and allowed my imagination to take me places and had vision in that. But yeah, there's something about really honing in on certain areas of the body and going into them. And I really appreciate, the questions that you have us ask, because they just, just help to stimulate that journey in a really powerful way. And yeah, I find sometimes there's just something to trusting what comes up without judgment, because sometimes you might see something like twisted or just weird that doesn't make sense, or just visions that you don't really understand, and that's okay. Allow yourself to observe these things without judgment, and to also go into them and ask, like, what is this about? What am I seeing? Like, what, this doesn't make sense to me. So I just found in that journey that there were a bunch of instances where what I'm seeing in that moment, that you're guiding us, is very different than what you're guiding us towards. Or it's like my atlas room or my guidance is trying to show me something else at the same time. And so to be in the guidance, but also just like trust what you're being shown, has a purpose. Isn't just random. So
yeah, so powerful. Thank you all for your willingness to go on this beautiful journey together. We'd love to open up to hear some shares about what's been awakened, what's been remembered, what's alive for you. And we'd love to receive you and witness you. And I'll share here Haley's comment. Thank you so much for your nurturing way of holding and guiding. This has been much, much appreciated and welcomed in my being. Such a beautiful, gentle journey. So many peacock feathers and chains unwinding from my solar plexus. Yum, sister. I love that. Peacock medicine. Yeah, if you feel called to share, please unmute yourself or raise your hand, or you can pop it in the chat. All is welcome. We went deep. We're all moving sweet and slow like honey. Yeah, and also an invitation too. Sometimes it takes a little bit for us to have the share that or the question that we want to ask. And I want to invite you that if you do have something that comes up for you in the next few days, or you're catching the replay to this and you have something come up, that Abushady and I are always available for witnessing. So you can send us an email or you can send us a message, and know that we're here to help you to fully integrate this journey. We're not here to leave you hanging.
Yeah, I love this share, Serena. She says, my highest love map was a big book with a mirror on the cover, nudging me back into that my highest love story in this life is with myself. The next chapter after this one is loving the self through another. That just hits so home for both of us. And that's really what we're talking about in Anointed. And this has been what we've been saying, affirming to each other a lot recently, which is like, I devote myself to God through you. And just realizing that that is what it is. Like I said in the beginning, we share the same heart. And there's nothing to keep or hide from another because of that. And truly it's God's heart. It's not our love, it's God's love that we are sharing in, and that we can say it is our love. All of our love. So I appreciate that share.
Yeah, it's so powerful to receive too, like the visual imprints of what shows up for us in our internal world, like a book with a mirror on the cover. Like, girl, I hope you write a book with a mirror on the cover. Like, I also feel like that's just a little prophecy sprinkle, but this is the place where we uncover prophecy.
Damn, that's a code right
like
there.
This is why we go in, right? Is because why would we keep wasting our time chasing all of this false shit when we have this much magic right here at our fingertips, accessible whenever we need it? So this is big. This is big for all of us here, and this is big for the collective, because we are remembering. We are remembering the power of our hearts and how huge this connection is for us, truly. So yeah, thank you for your share. Is there any other shares that are alive?
I would love to say something I think is just a code to take, which is that you can always ask to be shown something in a different way if it's not clear at first. And when I first, asked to see my highest love map, it was like this giant spinning Merkaba with all these like symmetrical like energy lines going through it. And I was like, this is super cool, but I'm not quite sure how to read this map right now. Like, I was studying it for a little while and I was like, all right, like I get where this is leading me. Like, it's kind of just showing me like this is it. Like, and the name of my next chapter was Merkaba as well. But I asked to see, can I see like another version of this map? And that's where I like pulled a scroll out and roll, and it was like this old map. And then I was able to kind of get a bearing of like where I am on the map and how to move forward. And then from that map, I was able to get a more clear answer. So yeah, there's no rules either, right? When you're in that space of how you're going to get to it, and whatever works for you to be clear on what you're seeing and hearing.
Yeah, so epic. I love that piece. Thank you. There are no rules. We break all rules. So are we good for questions? Is everyone just like so happy on all the yummy scoops that they got? I love it.
Because it's also, you can go in and it can be uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Like, it is possible to come out of an experience like this and feel like incomplete and feel more confused. And I want to just express that that's okay. And sometimes, like, it takes more time.
Yeah.
Go back in and
Yeah. This is actually a really big piece, because when we go into our Atlas room, sometimes it takes multiple times to break maps. Like, for instance, for me to uncover my highest prophecy map, I did a lot of work on breaking a map called Betrayal. And it took me about 5 weeks of going in a few times a week to clear it fully from my field. So know that this isn't like a one and done situation. This is a place now that you have established a pathway to, and you get to now go and be in communion with the sacred space within you whenever you want, or whenever you feel guided, or whenever you do really want to see into something. And I use my Atlas room really almost as a really sacred place that I go when I really need guidance that, like, I can't get from my heart or my womb. Like, when you want to go and kind of just see into something a little deeper, this is why we have our Atlas room. And it's such a gift to know that we have this place and that we have this tool of inner body journeying to bring us on path, because that's why we're here. So with that, loves, thank you so much for being here with us today. And to everyone who's tuning into the replay, like, thank you for being here with yourself for 2.5 hours and really receiving the love of who you are, the blessing of what love really is, what this temple and frequency of holiness of our hearts really is, and what it's here to bring us towards, to guide us to. And so with that, we would obviously love to invite you into Anointed with us. We begin on Saturday at 10 a.m. and we'll be running for 8 weeks, 7 weeks with us, and then the last week will be with our beloved grandmother elder, Grandmother Karina Saranen, who's a really powerful medicine woman and well known in Canada and the States and Costa Rica. So this is big. It's big to be returning here with an elder by our side and to be bringing this back into the grids. It's big. I know we all feel it, that humanity is done running the spells, right? Running the lenses that have been programmed by porn, by movies, by music videos, by all of it. It's time to return to truth. So in Anointed, we're going to be taking this like foundational wisdom that we've established today, and we're going to be clearing all of the shit that stands between us and love, and really bringing in some deep like cleanup work through the first 3 weeks. And then we're going to really be establishing this new architecture and going in so deep. Every single class is 3 hours, so it's going to be a powerful and slow and sweet deep dive into truth. And our prayer is that, that we walk fully as ourselves, fully as the love that we came here to embody and to receive and to share and to be generous with. This is why we're all here, and this is the foundational prayer of why we're here today and why we're bringing this offering through. That is so much more than an offering. It's a remembrance of a frequency that has longed to return to earth for a really long time. So it's all here for us to tap into. And just to say thank you for journeying with us today, we're going to be sending out a coupon code for 22% off Anointed with the replay. So if you've been feeling into the frequency of Anointed and you're like, whoa, I'm not sure if I can commit to studying this this frequency of love and the inversions and the truths for like 2 months. Let today really be a sacred whisper into how powerful this work really is and what we can truly tap into and break free from when we do this work together for periods of time, like 2 months. So this is going to be an activation for all of us included. It's going to be such a beautiful 2 months together, and we're so excited to walk forwards with whoever wants to join. So thank you for being here today, and yeah, we hope to see some of these faces around the fire with us to continue this work, because truly today is just the tip of the iceberg. It's so deep and it's so alive right now in the collective. So there's no more hiding. This kind of the sense that, yeah, God is sharing with us. It's time to return to the true frequency of love.
Sheesh.
You. So with that, we're celebrating all of you. Thank you so much for being here, for bringing your beautiful selves, your presence, your medicine. Your medicine.
Thank you all.
Yeah. And again,
So grateful.
If you have anything to share with us as outside of this container that arises for you, we are here to support you. And if you have any questions about Anointed, reach out. Tomorrow's the last day to join. The temple doors close at midnight CST. Yeah, we're ready to step into this new frequency. So much love to all of you. We'll be sending this replay out in the next few hours. So stay tuned if you want to journey it again. I love this. My heart brought me here and I'm held by it now. Thank you. I love that.
Mackenzie.
Thank you for following your heart and listening. It's the key that unlocks everything, truly. So much love to you all. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.